SM fans across the globe, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. We are live and direct here again in Wave TV to bring you the latest happenings and events, of course, across the globe, most especially in Nigeria state. And as things continue to unfold, before we go into today's analysis and deliberations, I want to appreciate undisclosed person who responded to the appeal by one Miss Ngozi, a single mother of two that was asking for the public assistance. Thank you so much. You credited 15,000 in respect to that. I appreciate you. Your name was not indicated, but the gesture or donation has been noted. Thank you so much in that regard. Yes, and to SM fans who may want to assist this single mother and the two kids, should see my contact at the description of this contact or channel, and do whatever you can to support our sisters, young lady in her predicament. Having said that, you're welcome to this in-depth analysis here in Wave TV. I remain Chigozie Ndemo, the host anchor. We are to discuss about the unguided utterances of the President Ahmed Bola Tinubu in addressing the labor union or labor force yesterday, telling them that they do not, of course, insult his person by conducting themselves in the process of governance by protesting against the unjust or misrule of this current administration. In this current administration, a sachet of pure water is now 50 naira. You can imagine it. A sachet of Indomie or spaghetti is now 1,100 to 1,200, depending on the brand and the make. Something that was barely sold, something that was barely sold at 150. You can imagine the astronomical increase in the, of course, prices of foods and the basic necessities of Nigerians, and which, of course, it is very clear and apparent that the minimum wage is more or less a dying wage. Of course, it's no longer sustainable. It can no longer, under any circumstances or logic, be considered as a minimum wage. It's a dying wage, and the labor force are protesting, which is their legitimate right to express the dissatisfaction and the agony they are passing through in a more peaceful manner, and you are charging them, threatening them, and giving them charge that they dare not try such rascality. You can imagine the level of intimidation, suppression that the president under democratic rule is exhibiting. Such a character of dominance, such character of egocentric base personality. It is quite unfortunate. No nation can be more bigger than her workforce. It is never done anywhere in the world. Responsible countries and society have great regards for their workforce, because there cannot be any government except, of course, the contribution of the workforce. It is quite unfortunate that the first office of the first citizens are addressing the masses or their own people in such a derogating manner, despicable manner that is quite unacceptable. You can't gag the people, you can't fight them, you can't beat them and expect them not to cry. The government has bring unimaginable, untold hardship on the masses. Rather than giving them hope, you are threatening them, of course, to trample on them. Of course, you can recall that the same president said that you will labor and die, and is now expressing that without any, of course, unfortunately, any recourse to the conscience of the people. It is quite unfortunate. You should for once respect the sanctity of human life and of course the dignity of labor. A laborer deserves her wages, commensurate wages that should be paid. And no government, responsible government, will want to, of course, trample upon the rights of her citizens. And of course, most especially the labor union of force, when they are demanding the legitimate right, they can no longer cope with the economic mishaps. They can no longer take care of their own families and their basic necessities. And to this end, they came to address, to pour out, to express themselves via protests. And you are threatening them with all manner of threats and intimidation. That is not acceptable in any responsible society. The same Tinubu who, of course, protested against a military government during Abacha time is now intimidating, sanctioning the labor force that they do not try him. They should wait, remain silent, and accept whatever is thrown on them until 2027. That is arrant, of course, the height of irresponsibility on the part of the government, whose primary objective and responsibility should be the welfare of her citizens and, of course, the labor force by extension. But do we see that coming through under this administration? We have seen clearly that Tinubu's administration is more or less a dictatorial administration with its dictatorial tendencies, trying to clamp down on people's rights and of expression, which is captured within the Nigerian constitution, that the people has a right of opinion, the right of expression, the right to protest, of course, a civil protest. But unfortunately, this right has been withdrawn, has been, of course, hampered by the instruments of the state, by a man who should be regarded as a custodian of the Constitution to uphold the integrity and the well-being of the citizenry, have so clearly shown that he's not interested in any garbage, in whatever may be the oppressions or their pains is not his concern. Unfortunately, a bag of rice is close to 90,000 or if not 100,000 now. How could a man paid minimum wage, the supposed killing wage, sustain or even dream of buying a bag of rice in a year? Which is not realistic, it's not sustainable. And people believing to hear some, of course, words of comfort and encouragement from the office of the president. Unfortunately, we are disappointed. Of course, as usual, not surprising, but then that is a reality that people should be gagged and forced not to express themselves. With this level of intimidation, harassment, it is clearly shows a clear deviation from what democracy represents or entails or should be. It is quite unfortunate. Imagine the United States government telling her citizens not to protest, that anyone that dares start will be trampled upon, will be killed and intimidated. It is quite unfortunate what you are seeing here in Nigeria today. But that is the reality that is no longer deniable. That people's voice has been destroyed, has been swallowed up through intimidation, suppression, and deliberate attempts to suppress everyone. And this is not acceptable, because even if the Tinubus and his lies could protest during the military juntas, nothing stopped the masses from expressing themselves. Because you cannot tell us whatever reasons why we should not protest. The only, of course, antidote to protest is address the myriad of problems bedeviling Nigerians. You cannot be touring the country, the world, while you have not addressed the problem within your, of course, your own country. It is quite sad that people are hungry and could no longer fend for themselves. And those who are working, the few that are working, of course, it is no longer sustainable. I met someone working in the island in Ikoyi. He said he spent close to 3,000-4,000 a day. How much is being paid? It's no longer sustainable. He has to, of course, retrench. He has to sack himself from the job, resign, because it is no longer feasible, because he's telling on his emotions and psyche. You can imagine the level of madness and rascality exhibited by this administration. It is quite sad, but then, of course, being a democratic setting, the Tinubu administration should be reminded that this is not a dictatorial system. Otherwise, he could be calling for anarchy, and that means the state of lawlessness. The one who should protect this constitution and the rights of the people should not, in other words, be the one to abuse such. Quite unfortunate. But then let's continue to watch and see what unfolds and how the Labour Congress will react to this intimidation and embarrassment that have been caused, of course, by the speech or supposedly unguided speech or utterances from the office of the president, for the president himself. It is quite unfortunate and it's quite sad that in this turbulent time, in this time of uncertainty, in this time where the overbearing, of course, impact of this economic mishaps is telling on all our sundry, especially the Nigerian populace, you should come with such insulting, of course, and derogatory statements, intimidating the masses that they don't have the right as far as you are Jagaban. You want to Jagaban them out of the way and do whatever is your bidding. That is not so. You protested and you have no moral right. Of course, during the military junta, you protested and sponsored protests against Jonathan. You have no moral right under any circumstance, under any disguise, to intimidate people and, of course, suppress them not to protest, because that will amount, of course, to double standard, and it is not acceptable. Address the myriads of issues bedeviling the Nigerian, of course, workers, and there will be no need to protest. Of course, there will be no need to protest. People are hungry; they can no longer buy food. Families, millions of families are going to bed without knowing where next, in fact, just a meal will come from. And you appear to be indifferent and, of course, complacent over the plight of your own supposed citizens, which you have their mandate or the mandate of under law to protect and preserve their existence. This is quite unfortunate. Let's leave you with this provoking thoughts and reactions. Let's see what your reactions via the comment sections and what you think about these statements coming from the president himself, Bola Tinubu. Yesterday, asking the labor. Remember, I have once said, you will labor till you die. Now, you dare not go to the street to protest against me. You rather wait to 2027. How many people will survive today with this level of economic mishap, uncertainty, pains and agony, insecurity, and starvation already killing several thousands of the Nigerian populace? People are crying, women are stripping themselves naked on the street, begging. Families have been destroyed, the family values and, of course, have been destroyed because of this economic hardship. And rather than the government and her cabinets to think of how to cushion the effort, or, of course, prefer some panacea to these issues, they are running out threats, which is unacceptable and condemnable in its highest term. And we cannot watch humanity being brought down to its lowest ebb, its abysmal decline, by inviting anarchy and suppression. It is no longer a democratic process. Of course, anarchy looms. Let's see what is your comments and reactions regarding this. We'll come, of course, to review further analysis or reactions as that becomes necessary at this time.